Good morning, everyone. And whether it's 3 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock at night, 12 noon, well, a very good morning. And it's a wonderful day today. If you don't know me, my name is Eric. I'm a locomotive engineer by profession, an avid model railroader, and a lifelong rail enthusiast. Today is video podcast number 4 of a series that I've started called Building a 1-inch Scale Santa Fe GP60M. Now, today I'm very excited for a number of reasons because it's a beautiful morning, number one. Number two, my kids are gone to school. There's peace and quiet for the next 8 hours. No sibling rivalry. No defiance. Yes, there's peace. But also, I woke up this morning to a wonderful text message from my friend Justin, who said, hey, would you happen to have some time this evening to where we could get some welding done and afterwards maybe consume some adult beverages? And I responded, absolutely. So something that I've been wanting to get done here for, well, at least a couple months is finally going to take place today. So I figured I would come out to the driveway here and start doing a little work because with the humidity here in the Midwest, some of the body has started to take on a little bit of surface rust. So I need to sand some of that off, as well as rough up the surface on the deck and the parts that are going together for the welding process. So this is exciting because I'm looking forward to being able to document the not only the preparation process for the parts, but also document the welding that's going to be going on later today. So I'm hoping that I actually get to film a little bit more content today for material for other videos. So in subsequent videos, if you happen to see me wearing the same outfit, it's because everything was shot in one day and just separated over a matter of weeks. So yes, I do shower and I do practice good hygiene. But anyway, jokes aside, let's get started. Okay, so at this point, we're going to start taking the body apart. Not that it's attached, but I'm just going to start separating everything. And this also gives you an idea of how the different parts go together, or how they will be attached together, to make the locomotive. So I'm just going to show you the process of me breaking things down to get the deck and the frame prepared, sanded to get prepared for welding later on today. Okay, so the first thing that we'll do is remove the cab, and I'm just going to set it down gently here. Okay, and on the inside here, we have part of the dynamic braking that hopefully we're going to get some parts welded on, but it actually has some areas that need to be sanded as well. So we'll take care of that during the sanding process. Okay, so now this is the main part of the long hood here. So we'll just set this aside here as well. Okay, and so these are some pieces that I have that, I don't know, they may or may not make up the steps and the step wells yet. This is something that I feel I need to maybe get some more counsel and ask for some more advice on how to do things. But no matter what, whatever we decide, it's going to look good. So, you try something, and if you feel it doesn't work, well, then you try something else. So we are nowhere near that part of thinking yet. So that is something that, of course, when that time comes, we will be discussing in future videos. Okay, so now, oh, we're gonna take this big beast here, and this is pretty heavy. I actually have two of these because at one time I thought I was going to do a GP60B, which actually still is in the realm of possibilities, but I got to figure out how to build this one first before we look at a Jeep 60B. But anyway, I've got two of these, and I don't think I'm a weak person, but trying to carry two of these decks, yeah, it's they're pretty heavy. These things are probably at least 70 pounds a piece, so they're pretty heavy. But we're gonna go lay it on the sawhorses here and get ready. And now this is the frame here, or so you can see it's a C-channel frame here that we're working with. So this is going to be the work that we want to get done tonight, or part of it, is getting this welded onto the bottom of the frame. And we'll talk a little bit about how this is all going to go together, and I'll show you exactly what I'm going to have to do in order to get it positioned and keep it straight. And of course, I don't know, different people call them different things, but of course the pilots or the end sheets or kick plates, you know, it's been called, they've been called several different things, but no matter what, as you can see, there's a little bit of rust on this one here, so and this one as well. But that's just what happens when things sit out in my garage. And like I said, it's August and we've got some humidity going on, so it's easy for a little surface rust to occur. Does it hurt anything? No, but I definitely want to get the parts cleaned up, you know, prior to the welding process. So we're going to set these aside here, and I'm going to turn the camera over to the frame, and we'll take a look at it, and we'll do some sanding. Okay, so here's the frame on the sawhorses here, and of course you can see this is where some of the worst of the surface rust is there, so we're just going to go ahead and knock it off here. But this is actually the top part of the deck, and as you can see here, there have been some guides welded on here because the batteries are actually going to fit within these guides, number one, but then number two, the long hood also fits around the outside of them as well. So they actually serve three purposes, because I know that this is the top side because of these. So anyway, we're just going to take the sander, and we're just going to knock off a little surface rust, and we're just going to rough it up a little bit here as well, so that we've got something, a nice rough surface to get everything attached. Okay, so we've got the frame and the deck sanded here. So the next step is to grab the end sheets, the pilots, and we'll sand the rust off of those. Once we get the parts cleaned up, then we'll go to the clamping process to measure and position them in the proper position that we need them to be before the welding process. so the next thing we're going to do here, now that we've got the sanding done, is we're actually going to match up the frame with the deck. So I'm going to move the frame aside here. Okay. Oh. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I might have mentioned it in video number 1 that with all these heavy parts, this locomotive is probably going to be upwards of 400 pounds, at least by the time it's done. Between just the actual weight of the locomotive parts themselves, but then you add the trucks, the motors in the trucks, you add the batteries, and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a pretty heavy locomotive. But the beautiful thing about it is that the heavier it is, the more torque you've got. Because when you think about the fact that this is going to be pulling cars that people are riding on, so you definitely want a heavy locomotive and enough weight for good adhesion to the rails. But anyway, back to the subject at hand here. So we're going to take the frame here. Okay, and we're going to set it on the deck here. So what I'll end up doing is bringing the camera around so that you kind of have a better idea of what I'm looking at and how I'm lining things up. Okay, so we've got the frame sitting on the deck here. So as you can see, what I'm trying to do there is slide the frame lengthwise to where we're just touching the back edge of the anti-climber. Okay, so now we go up to this end as well. Okay, and we're right at about the same spot there. So, okay, so now we come to the end and we want to make sure that we are centered here. So basically what I'm going to end up doing is taking a tape measure and trying to position everything. Okay, so off camera, I just took a little bit more time to position everything to where I want it here. So as I take a measurement on the back side here, so we're looking at about 2 1/8 inches here. And then I want to make sure that I've got the same measurement here as well. Okay, so everything looks good. And so at this point, that's when I'll take a clamp and we'll just go probably right in the center here. Okay, and then we're just gonna lightly clamp it down. We're just gonna put some firm pressure on it just to hold it. Because let's see here. Okay, so let me slide this for just a hair. Okay, so we've got clamp number 1 down here. So we don't want to tighten it too firm right now, because as you know, you're putting clamps down, everything has the tendency to move. And so we want to make sure that, if nothing else, you know, everything stays as still and stays as close to position as possible here. So now I've got this clamp down, I can sit there and kind of shake it and it's not moving. So at least we know that it's staying firm. Now I'll take the ruler again. Okay, so I can see that it has actually moved again. So in the case like this, you don't want to move things around too much, but sometimes you just need almost literally the width of a hair just to get everything in position here. So I'll show you what I'm going to do here. Okay, so we have a clamp down here and we've got it held about where we want it. So let's take a measure here. Okay, and as I'm looking there, it looks like we're just under 2 1/8. Okay, so let's see what we've got on the other side here. Okay, as I'm looking at this here, it looks like we're maybe just a hair above 2 1/8. So we're gonna have to readjust that. Okay, so since it looked like it was off by just a little bit, what we're gonna do, just gonna loosen this clamp up just a little bit. Now, we don't want it to be too loose, but we just want enough that we can slightly, ever so slightly move it here. So in this case, not getting together with my friend until later this evening. So you know what? I got all day to make sure that the measurement is exactly where I want it. Okay, so as I'm looking at this once again, it's just under 2 1/8. Okay, and we want to go to at least right on 2 1/8. Now, you know, some could say, well, isn't it close enough? And yeah, in a lot of ways and a lot of areas, I can say, yeah, this is close enough. This is one of those areas where I have the control to make sure that this measurement's right. I want to do things as close to exact as I can. So one of the things that, like I said, we're starting at the center here. So I'm just gonna, with a hammer and a block of wood here, I'm just gonna give it just a little bit of a tap there. And, okay, it's moved it a hair, which is what we want. We want everything to move ever so slightly. Hence, that's why the clamp is your friend right now. So, I'm gonna give it just another few taps here. Okay, I saw a little bit of movement there. Okay, now I've gone just a little bit over the 2 1/8 there. So I'm gonna look and see what we've got on this side here. Oh yeah, so I've gone a little bit too far. So hammer and block of wood here. Tap it lightly. Okay. Now, the clamp is definitely doing its job, and I'm not tapping, no, not trying to hit it too hard. Okay, this clamp is really doing its job, so maybe I just need to give it a little bit. There we go. I think I saw some movement there. Okay, now we're right on 2 1/8 on this side. And we're gonna go back here and look. Yep, and it looks like we're at 2 1/8 on this side here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, now we're gonna give it a little bit more manhandling there. Really clamp it down. I'm going to take another measurement here to make sure that I'm still at 2 1/8. Okay, that looks good there. And on this side, yep, we're right at 2 1/8 here. So one of the things that I didn't do prior to clamping down our first clamp is I didn't check the ends. So I moved everything into position a little bit ago when I first set the frame on top of the deck, and I showed you where I was positioning it, but I didn't actually put any measurement on it. So that was my fault, but I actually checked it out here, and it is about 1 5/8 inches. So I got lucky, you know, that it is actually okay. So my eyeballing worked. However, if I wasn't on my measurement and on the proper mark, well then, that's on me. I've got to take that clamp off, and we got to keep readjusting until we have it right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a square here. Okay, so I've got this square here. So we're going to position this end sheet, and this is actually the rear end of the locomotive here. So what I'm going to do is take another clamp, and see, we're going to go, let me loosen this up a little bit more here. Okay. All right, so, okay. Now, I'm going to kind of take this block. Okay, so we're going to make sure that, okay, you know what, this isn't working. So all we simply do here is take the clamp off. Okay, reposition it there. Okay, now sitting there looking at it here. Okay, and it looks pretty square there. So it looks like we're perfectly up and down here. So everything is squared there. So I'll reposition this clamp here just to kind of get it into the center here, because what we want to do is we want to be able to tack into these corners here, and it's preferably done on the back side there so you can hide the welds, but we want to make sure that we keep any welds from being tacked here, because this is of course where we're going to have our coupler box, and we want to make sure that we have a nice squared opening for that. So we will definitely have to make sure that we watch where we tack weld. So as we can see here, I've got the pilots on there, and everything is snug and secure. The position of the pilot on both sides looks even and measures out pretty good. And I've got 4 big clamps in the middle there, and then of course 2 on the end here to just hold that end of it, because you'd be surprised that even though you think that I've got everything centered over here, you'd be surprised even when this end is clamped and the other end is clamped, things can still shift. So therefore, it was important for me to measure everything. On this end, also everything is nice and squared. And if we come to the inside where the light's a little better there, yes, so we have a nice tight joint there, so that's going to make it good for getting everything welded. So everything looks pretty good, and at this point I'm going to call this a success in the preparation process, and we will see you here in a little bit when the actual welding begins. Okay, welcome back. Well, it's evening time, and got my friend Justin there. Where you at, Justin?
Howdy.
And like I said, he graciously offered to make some time to get this bad boy welded today, or this evening. So we're getting ready to get started there. So I'll show a little bit of the work that he's doing, and we'll show you the finished product afterward. Okay, so we got some tack welding done here, so theoretically we can now remove the clamps, and Justin's going to get the arc welder out, and we're going to just go down the line there to really get everything secured there.
If your toddler isn't saying single words to mama or dad about school, or seems to hear some
Well, it's been 24 hours since yesterday when I started the preparation to get this frame welded. And as you could see from the footage, we successfully got everything done. Now, yesterday evening was an amazing time because I got to spend time with my friend. Even though we are in two different professions, but we like to have what we call union meetings, so we can gripe about things, but we're usually productive when we get together. So we were extremely productive. I'm just blown away and amazed that, a friend that, I've known for several years, didn't realize that he had metalworking skills. And not only does he have metalworking skills, but he did things that I didn't think were going to get done, and he just made it look so easy. So I tell you what, it's amazing when you've got the right person in your corner, and I would definitely say that right now he's been the second most influential person on getting this project completed. So we can look at this frame here, and of course you were able to see all the welds that he was popping on it, but now we have a close-up to what really occurred. So now, yes, there are, some areas that I'm going to have to go in and kind of maybe sand down or file down, but I just pulled this out of the car because I was tired last night when I got home, so I figured I would just wait until today. However, the morning is not as nice as it was yesterday. It's warm already and pretty humid. So I don't know how much work I'm going to get done outside today, but this is amazing. We've finally got this all taken care of, and it's just such a joy to see this. And as I was filming the footage of him welding it, yeah, there was just this big smile from ear to ear that I had because this is finally getting done. Okay, so just for giggles and grins here, I'm going to get the parts out of the car here. And because of the fact that we've got this welded together, I'm just going to kind of piece things together here. Just kind of give it that look, and just see how everything is going to fit together and just piece together theoretically. Oh, this looks so nice. And one of the things I said in video number 1 is that I was kind of frustrated because, well, I asked this person and then they kind of blow me off. Well, then I asked this person and then they kind of blow me off, and then well, ask another person, they blow me off. But you know what? Given everything that's happened and what resulted from Justin and I getting together last night, it was all worth it. All part of that patience. And I got the right guy for the right job because he was able to ask me questions. Hey, is this how you want it? He was able to take the lead and help me to figure out what I wanted, as opposed to, can you do this for me? And then somebody's just randomly popping welds. So I'm so glad that this worked out the way it did. And so at this point, we'll call it good. I think we've seen everything that we needed to see for this video, and I look forward to the opportunity to keep popping them out because things are really starting to take off here. So we will see you in the next video. Thank you very much for your time and watching, and if you would, please like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.